Hello, everyone. This is Dave from Dave's Recent Things. It is the fall. Yes, school is back in business. Everybody is starting to see changes in the trees, at least up here in Canada, anyways. The fall is coming. My gardens are kind of slowly dying down and everything, so that means pumpkin spice lattes are right around the corner. For today's video and today's wreath, I'm going to be using the Dollar Tree 6-inch deco mesh to make a puff style fall wreath. Why don't I just get started and I'll show you how I put it all together. I am using the 14-inch wire wreath frame for today's wreath. This thankful sign, and I love the colors of it, which were the inspiration, so I chose green, orange, and yellow 6-inch deco mesh, and I'm using a total of 6 rolls today, 2 of each color. These burlap pumpkins are going to be little accessories on our wreath, along with these miniature burlap pumpkins. These are just clips. We're going to use those today, and some ribbon in green and orange. I also found these little gnome guys, which I think are kind of cute, so we're going to use those, and my normal crafting utensils, including pipe cleaners. I'm going to start off just by cutting those pipe cleaners right in half. I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and then I'm just going to put those to the side. To cut my mesh, here's a little trick. I showed you this before. All you need is a little basket with some holes on the sides that are even, and then you just stick the dowel through the holes and through the deco mesh, and you can do all 3 rolls, and you can kind of create this little contraption which will unravel your deco mesh for you and keep it all nice and neat all at the same time. You just line up the sides, or line up the ends, sorry, and give it a little pull, and it works beautifully. For this wreath, we're going to do something a little different. Normally I do the working wreath frame, which is actually attaching the pipe cleaners onto the frame. Today we're going to do it a little different. I'm starting off just by scrunching my deco mesh together, and then at 12 inches I'm going to create another little scrunchie. I'm not cutting anything at this point, we're just adding our pipe cleaners. And what I do is I just measure out the 12 inches using our little contraption over there, squish it together with my fingers, and I add a little pipe cleaner and just twist it a couple of times. This is going to create our little poof. It works a little bit better than having to do your working wreath frame ahead of time. I love doing it this way. This is so fast for me, so quick, so simple. And here we are, we're almost done with our first 3 rolls together, and I just chop off the excess. And I'm going to do the same thing for our next 3 rolls as well. And here you can see our little bundle. We are going to attach it to that 14-inch wire wreath frame now, using those pipe cleaners we've already attached. So you've got one big long roll of all 3 deco mesh all put together by those pipe cleaners. And to attach it, I'm just going to attach it using the center 2 wires. And the first one I do, I'm actually going to attach it to the crossbar as well. So again, I'm attaching it to the second innermost wire, just twisting it around a couple of times, and then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut that off. So that'll be our first attachment, and we're going to go around on the inside first. But for each section, I'm going to do one at the crossbar, then one in the middle, and then one in another crossbar. So you can see here I'm using that same wire, so it's the second most inner wire. I'm attaching it there, twisting it a couple of times, and this is going to go right in the middle of that section. Here we go, cutting off the excess, and then our last and final piece is going to be on the same inner wire and on that crossbar as well. So the 2 ones that are at the crossbar, the 2 bundles that are a crossbar, they're nice and secure. The one in the middle does move, but I'll show you in a little bit what I do in order to keep that in its place. Here we go, just twisting it on, cutting it off using my scissors, and we've started our first section so far. Don't worry, it looks kind of messy right now. Trust the process, trust me, it does look amazing in the end. So there you see the 2 at the crossbar, 1 in the middle, and I'm just going to continue that all the way around. But first, I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue on each side of that middle pipe cleaner attachment. That's just going to hold it nice and secure so it doesn't move. Once that's dry, I'm going to do all the rest. I'm going to follow the same pattern, and I'm going to use that hot glue to secure it. And once it's all down, I'm going to come to my second long bundle. This time, we're going to use the secondmost outer wire and the crossbar to attach it. So you see here, I put the pipe cleaners around there, and then I'm just going to twist it just exactly the same way we did that first round. Twist it around a little bit, then I'm going to come to the middle, adding that next pipe cleaner attachment and our next bundle right in the middle as well. We're following the same pattern as the first row. And you see here, I'm just saving the cutting until the very end. And of course, we're finishing off that first section on the second outermost row with another anchor. And what I'll do after I cut off all the excess pipe cleaners, I'm going to go in like I did before, and I'm going to add a little glue on there so that one in the middle doesn't move anywhere. You can see here I'm cutting off those edges, trimming them down so they don't poke out so much, and then adding that hot glue right on that middle section. Then I'm just going to continue with that same pattern all the way around on that outer ring, adding that hot glue to make sure nothing moves on me, waiting for that all to dry, and of course, my favorite, when we flip it over and we see all of those beautiful poofs. Now it's time for me to kind of fluff it out a little bit. If you've been watching my channel, I use the word fluff all the time for bows, for deco mesh, for anything. So all I'm doing is I'm just separating those 3 pieces of deco mesh within each bundle, just separating them a little bit so you can see the colors more. So again, I have like an orange, a green, and a yellow, and look how beautiful and full this poof method is using the Dollar Tree mesh. Of course, there I go fluffing again because I can't stop. It's like an addiction, an OCD or something. But here is our base wreath and we're ready to decorate. I am first going to create a bow. So I am using these 2 8.5 inch, and they are both wired ribbon. These are nice because they're finished on both sides, so we don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to lay them one over top of the other. So this one I'm putting the green down and the orange on top. Does it matter? No, if you've got a couple of pieces of ribbon, it doesn't really matter which one you put on top, which one you put on the bottom. So the edge I'm going to line up at 5 inches, and my center is going to be at the 7-inch mark, and then I'm going to count from there. So for example, 7 inches, 8 inches will be a 1-inch loop, 9 inches will be a 2-inch loop, etc., etc. So what I'm going to do, my first loop at 10 inches, which will be a 3-inch loop, and then I'm going to put my finger down, bring those rolls over to the left-hand side, and then I'm going to come back to my center, which is our 7-inch mark. Now we've got the 3 inches on the right, we're going to do 3 inches on the left, and I'm going to place my hand down at the 4 inches, and I'm going to bring those rolls of ribbon over to the right. Again, I'm going to come right back to my center, which is 7 inches, and now I'm going to go out 1 more inch from there. So now we're going to go at the 4-inch mark, and I'm going to create another loop using the exact same method. So that's all I'm doing. I'm finding my center, which is 7 inches, and I'm going to add on 1 inch for each of my loops. This bow, I wanted to create a more of a rectangular bow, if that makes sense, instead of a circular bow. You'll see the results in the end. Trust the process. We'll get there in the end. And I do end up doing a lot of loops, and I end up doing 7 inches on both sides. So here, when I'm done, I'm going to come to the middle, and I'm going to cut about the 5.5-inch mark, because you want a little ribbon when you do your center scrunch. You want to have it all combined there. I find my center, which is 7 inches again. I'm going to put the pipe cleaner right underneath at that 7-inch mark, and then I am just going to squish that ribbon all together. There's a lot there, but we can squish it together. And then we're just going to tie that pipe cleaner all the way around and make it nice and secure. This is the start of our beautiful rectangular bow. Once I get this tied, that is. And then, of course, I have some extra, so I decide I'm going to do some tails on this bow. I'm just evening out each side, and then I'm going to finish the ends off with a dovetail. That's just cutting on an angle as you fold it in half, and that's going to create beautiful edges. Just squish it in the middle, fold it down a little bit, and then add that in between your pipe cleaners and give it a couple of good twists. When you flip it over, you can kind of see the start of my bow here with this orange and this beautiful green color. I start fluffing it up a bit, taking those pieces apart so you can see both colors. But at this time, I'm not going to move those loops around. I'm just going to kind of keep them in a row. So you can kind of see it's more of a rectangular shape as opposed to a circle shape. Now comes time to do what I call a dry run. So if you're here on my channel the first time, a dry run for me is I have everything that I'm going to place on the wreath on my table, and I just put everything down. I'm not gluing anything at this point. I'm just kind of seeing what fits where, how I like it, etc., etc. For me, this always works out, and I always do this for every single wreath. And I'm just putting those gnomes on there. I'm happy with how this all turned out. So now it comes time for me to attach that sign. All I'm doing is I'm bringing those pipe cleaners right to the back. These are just attached to the back of the sign using hot glue. I'm just wrapping them around a couple of times once I figure out where I want to put that sign, cutting off the excess, and then I am going to come in with a little hot glue just to hold it in place. So I've got my sign fixed there. I'm going to fluff up my little poofs a little bit because my sign kind of squished it all down. And then I'm going to attach the bow the exact same way. I'm just going to feed those pipe cleaners through, twist it a couple of times, cut it, and then boom, our bow is nice and attached. I'm trying not to fluff it, but I'm addicted. I had to do it. Now comes time for the hot glue with all those beautiful burlap pumpkins. I'm just adding a whole bunch of hot glue on the back sides, holding them in place, fluffing up at the same time, and just having a lot of fun. Here's my little fun gnomes that I'm going to place on there, fluffing up a little bit more before the final reveal, and picking it up, looking at it, seeing how it looks. I'm really happy with this wreath. I love how it turned out, and I love the colors of everything on this wreath. There's my thankful sign. That was the inspiration. Of course, I love gnomes, and I love these little burlap pumpkins and this rectangular bow. I think it brings everything all together for this very thankful Thanksgiving Dollar Tree wreath. I really hope you enjoyed today's wreath. I had so much fun, as always, creating wreaths for you to watch. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye for now.